Hi everyone, my name is Tammy Reger and I am a higher self illumination healer. I'm the creator of the modality higher self alchemy as well as abundance energetics. And today I want to share with you some of the messages from your higher selves that would like to come through to help propel you through the current energy that exists on this planet and wherever it is that you call home. From the time of the end of July to August 22nd, we have been in a huge leap, a huge up leveling. There was so much energy that was processed between July 26th about to August 22nd that some of you may be very tired going, what is happening? You may have noticed things falling down around you, things shifting, but you're not really sure where they're going. We are on the opposite side of that window. That window culminated with the 888 gateway, which was 3 weeks ago or so, and so much energy coming through. And it ended with August 22nd being, I think, the Regis Star Day, which is also the Lion's Heart. There's a lot happening, not necessarily on Earth. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening here too, but there's a lot of stuff happening in the ethers that hasn't yet manifested on Earth. I have been through many months of transformation, but these last couple of weeks, since about the end of July to Monday of this week, have been crazy as to how much stuff I'm being shown is actually happening in the ethers that then will manifest into physical reality on Earth in some way. These are not dreams that I have. They're not meditations. They just are an awareness that there's something happening outside of me that my higher self is orchestrating with other higher selves, and just being given a window into what that is and how it has continued to happen with certain dates being tied to different things, and just watching it happen instead of me having to do anything. As a business owner, there's always things for me to do. Even if you are not a business owner and maybe think about, the possibility of being your own boss or just being able to do your own thing, right? There's a lot that goes into that. And this idea that I needed to just let it happen and there was nothing that I not only could do, but needed to do, brings in a whole level of trust. When we talk about manifesting, when we talk about achieving our dreams, our goals, we think that we have to do all this stuff to get there. But more and more the message is, can you just allow it? And if you allow it, you will find that flow that you so desire, where everything just magically comes to you because you are in alignment to it. This is what is coming if you are willing to step into it. Now, to do that, you have to be really, really good with trust. And I myself as well had a lot of problems with trust. Not just trusting others, but do I trust myself? I'm better, but I wasn't great at holding myself accountable. So dates would come and go, like I'd miss my goals constantly because I was never committed to myself. My clients always came first. I love them all, but I always put them first. And it wasn't until I allowed myself to look into why I can't trust myself that things really started to shift. And in this last month or so, I've really been able to really tap into just allowing whatever it is my higher self is orchestrating in the ethers that will manifest on Earth and is already and is in my own life happening. So where is it that maybe you are stuck with trust? Where is it that you are hiding yourself because you maybe don't trust what other people will think? But I'm going to turn that and say that's actually something inside of you that's being reflected back to you about something that you feel inside of yourself. We live in a very, what we call touch and go world where we operate from this perspective that the world is happening to us and we don't have any control over it, where through my work, I've learned that it's actually the opposite. You happen to the world based on your beliefs as one. Many people talk about limiting beliefs and mindset, but it's so much more than that. So much more than that. And you may understand this if you're somebody who's been working on mindset and limiting beliefs and you still can't get out of this cycle. It's because it's so much more than that. Really, we experience the world through our emotions, through our heart. The limiting beliefs just are another way of reflecting that to us. And our limiting beliefs only have power because they have emotion tied to them. So instead of you going out to the world and being reactive to others, your higher self would like you to be able to see that those emotions are actually your gold mine for you to figure out what is inside of you that needs to heal, so that when you interact with someone, whatever they're doing or something, you don't have that emotional response and you can either be neutral or see something you couldn't see before. And you have the power to do that. Every one of us does. But unfortunately, emotions have gotten a bad rap since at least I've been little. You know, we didn't show the emotions. We had to put our big girl pants on and swallow the emotions. And in that, they harden us, because then we don't feel as though the emotions are worthy of anything. But they are so much the gold mine. If you can get yourself to shift those, you will see the world in a totally different way. And trust is in there. We don't trust our emotions. We don't trust that our emotions show us the truth. I know as a child, I heard all kinds of things about emotions, about it being weak to show emotions. And they learned it from their parents. So it's not like, I don't blame my parents. It's just a society thing and what we've all been taught. But in that, I learned not to trust how I feel. Like my feelings didn't matter. My emotions didn't matter. And in there, I had lost trust in myself because my emotions are my guiding post. That's how I feel the world. I am not an empath. I do have a little bit of that in my psychic gift bag of tricks, but it is not my primary. But even that said, as humans, we experience the world through our emotions, not feeling other people's emotions, but how we feel about ourselves. And sometimes when we see it in someone else, it's really a reflection of something that we see inside of us. So we're at a time period where we're moving faster and faster and faster and faster through this awakening and up-leveling and becoming this unconditional love and unity consciousness. But in order for us to truly step into that, we have to unconditionally love ourselves first. You cannot unconditionally love others unless you unconditionally love yourself, because you will constantly see the things that you don't like about yourself in them. And you might think, oh my God, there's some awful people out in the world and I don't like them. Okay, but true. But there's still something about that person that you're uncomfortable with. And remember, your emotions aren't tied to time. You have lived many hundreds, if not thousands, of past lives on this planet alone. So your emotions aren't just tied to events that happen in this life, but potentially past lives. And who's to say that you don't have a past life with this person, and there's something needs to be healed there so that you can neutralize it. You know, it's funny because many people say, oh, you know, I'm not even bringing names. I'm not even going there, but all these people. But being aware of what they're doing and hating on them actually gives them power. If you can neutralize it, then they can't have it anymore. And that's a whole other topic, but it's something to think about. And as we move through, as we propel into September, where don't you trust yourself? Where don't you unconditionally love yourself? We want others to unconditionally love us, but unless we ourselves unconditionally love ourselves, it's really hard for us to accept it. Can you accept compliments? Can you allow people to help you? Can you take help, ask for help? These are all symptoms of you not unconditionally loving really yourself. And yes, unconditionally loving others is super important. But once you unconditionally love yourself, you can never not unconditionally love someone else. It is who you become. Unconditional love and unity consciousness is not outside of you, it's within you. It happens within you. And once you find that golden nugget, there's no going back, and you realize something about yourself and the world that you have forgotten. And maybe not forgotten from this lifetime, but past lifetimes. It's all in your hands, even though it seems like it's not. You have far more control over everything than you think. And the things that you fear about the world, there's a pain point within you. And if you heal that, you'll see less of it. You'll actually see the opposite of it. I've seen this in my life, and I've seen this in my clients as they change. And they grow and they expand, and they start to see different things that in their life that were probably there before, but they couldn't see them because they had fear or anxiety or sadness or grief or anger. And all as the world was reflecting back their emotion to them, feeding it, if you will. And through the work, was able to figure out where in a past life this all started. And then through the work, they let that go. So now they don't see the anger anymore. They don't see the pain and suffering. They see the peace, the love, the beauty, the joy, the abundance. And that's where we're at, because September is going to come in like with a roar. And you have to be ready. Your higher selves have been preparing you for what's coming for a long time. No matter where you are on your journey or exactly where you're supposed to be, please don't do any type of comparisons. You are exactly where you need to be. And instead of reflecting out into the world, we have to start looking in the mirror for ourselves. When we allow ourselves to be sucked into the world, we let go of our own power. Our power begins and ends with us and how we respond to things, how we allow our emotions to flow, how we're willing to let go of things that don't serve us, that don't serve the world. And then the world shifts around you. You start to see things you didn't see before. It's not because the world has changed, you have changed. New Earth is already here. It's just a higher frequency than you can see. And maybe you get glimmers of her. But to see more of her, the world doesn't have to change. You do. There's so many songs that have been written about how the change begins with you. Be the change you want to be inside. And it all starts there. And yeah, doing shadow work and looking at your stuff isn't fun. But actually it can be, because you can get to the point where if you can just know what it is and let it go without having to know the details, it will become fun. It's like learning your own, remembering your own mystery novel and trying to figure out what pieces, if you let go of this, if you make this choice, can you be freer, lighter, more expansive, abundance, have more joy, more peace, trust. Now I'll get back to trust, because trust starts with everything. If you don't trust your own self, how would you ever trust anyone else? And in a way, you not being able to trust others really a reflection of you and the fact that you can't trust yourself. Maybe you don't trust the universe will take care of you. That's a big one. You know, if you're trying to manifest and you don't trust the universe will take care of you, it's kind of can be like a fool's errand, because the universe has so much to deliver to you, but if you don't trust it, then you're not truly opening the portal to receive it. So if you ask and your portal to receive it is this big, but source needs it to be this big, you're not going to be able to receive all the possibilities of being able to be there. But back to trust. Trust is something that you have to step into. You have to figure out where inside of you, where the rubs are, whether it's an emotional trigger, an energetic trauma, or limiting belief, it doesn't matter. You have there's a way for you to figure all those things out. If you don't know, I teach it. You can schedule a call below, a free one, and we can talk about how you can learn how you can do this for yourself. It's not hard. It's not even that complicated. It just is really remembering that you have the ability to do this already and that you have the tool set to do so. But there's so many of you who are still hiding who you really are. You know, can't come here to suffer at someone else's feet. You didn't come here to kneel before someone else. You didn't come here to be beaten down by the system. You didn't come here to be stuck in lack, unknowing how to get out. You didn't come here to spin in circles, hoping somebody would find you and rescue you. You didn't come here to stand on the sidelines and watch everyone else play the game while you only wish to be involved. That is not who you are. That is who you have been, maybe in past lives, and potentially through this lifetime. But the ability to break free from that is inside of you. And it begins with trust. Do you trust yourself to be able to do the work? Do you trust that you're worthy of the work? Do you trust that what lies beyond the work is worth it? From my experience, I'm going to tell you it is. And I have lots of clients that will tell you the same. And if you can trust yourself, so much more will open. So much more will open. I'm going to draw some cards in a minute, but I want to share something. On my personal Facebook profile yesterday, I posted a picture of a painting that I created several weeks ago. And it was an old canvas that I had that I'd painted something over. I don't do painting as part of my business. It really is something that I love to do. It's a creative expression for myself. And it's really taught me a lot about trusting myself. There's a lot of lessons to be taught in painting. And really being able to open yourself up to the truth of who you are and be that, instead of like prejudging what you paint, not trusting that it's good enough, all of those things. And I was just trying to paint over this orange picture, black and blue, to try to make it a blank canvas again so that I could paint something on top of it. When I was painting, I didn't get very far. I couldn't get the blue to really work for me, and I changed to black, and I did a couple strokes and I heard stop. And I was like, stop? They're like, it's done. My higher self was like, it's done. I said, it's done. I'm like, I haven't even finished like painting over the orange and trying to get a blank canvas. That's what I thought I was aiming for. And she said to me, step back. And I said, okay, remember, trust. Do you trust yourself? Do you trust your higher self? Do you trust source? Are you willing to play in the game that they have outlined for you so that you can be who you came to be? So I pushed back. And when I looked at this painting, which I'll show you in a minute, I realized, without me even knowing it, and me just literally slapping paint on the canvas, I had created an intuitive painting. And it's only that I was willing to trust myself and my higher self that I was not going, whatever, I'm going to continue to paint it so that I have a blank canvas and it's all black. I let that painting sit as it was. I saw something in it that other people haven't seen in it, and that's okay. This is the painting. I didn't get very far. And as you can see, I was having a lot of trouble getting the canvas to get back to a solid color. The orange very much peeks through, and then you can see the blue on the edges like a frame, and then the black in the center. And, you know, when I saw it, I want you to first, before let me see if I can turn on some more light so it's brighter. When I first saw it, I definitely have seen something that no one else has seen, but I'm curious to know what you all see in this. Allow yourself to just take whatever comes first. There are many things you can see in this picture, and with every person that is posted in my Facebook profile, when I posted it yesterday, have come up with all kinds of different things myself that I can't see, but that doesn't matter, because what you see in this picture is something in yourself that you need to heal or acknowledge, as a message from your higher self. And whatever it is, honor that. You can drop a comment below. If it's within a certain time frame, I can't promise if you're watching this in a month that I will, but if it's relatively new, I'll get back to the comments and provide you any additional message from your higher self that he or she would like to provide you. But what do you see in here? I'm not going to provide you with the things that other people have said, because I want it to be intuitive to you, and I want you to trust what you first get. For me, no one has seen what I've seen, which is a whale. And the whale is an instruction for me to dive deep, relax. I get the whale a lot, so that's not a surprising thing for me, but there's more in this picture than that. What else what did you see initially? Now I posted that picture, and I'm doing this here now because so many people, so many artists or artists like, you don't even have to want to be an artist, you just paint or you make things. And we hide it because we think we're afraid of what other people will say to us. But I'm going to challenge you and say it's actually because you don't trust that your work is good enough to be seen. And I want to say that if you painted it and created it, it is. Because whether you're aware of it or not, your higher self and source always work through you. And while those paintings may be for you, there may be one or two that are actually meant for other people to see, for them to remember something about themselves. When I painted that, I had no desire to post that on social media. It was not something that I had planned. I had a vision and what I wanted to create on the new canvas, and I never got there because my higher self had another plan. And I had to be willing to step fully into trust to allow that painting to be what it was, without me wanting to finish it in what way I felt it needed to be. This is how the universe manifests through us, how your higher self works through you. You have to be willing to be uncomfortable. For some, they wouldn't have been able to not finish that painting, and they would have painted over something beautiful that could have deep meaning to other people. No, I did post this on my Facebook profile, and people did have some really great messages come through that really resonated with them. And if you're somebody who does any type of creative stuff, that could be you too. You don't have to have it to be perfect. God, this picture's not perfect, not even close. It's, you know, from my human standpoint, it's half finished, or not even half finished. It's maybe an eighth finished. But for my higher self and source, it's done. That's what it's supposed to be. And can you live in that space? Can you allow source and your higher self to work through you to pave the way, to show you the breadcrumbs, to guide you to your next point in your destination. It's not going to come in the way you want it to. And tell you right now, that doesn't happen. Your higher self is going to make you uncomfortable. So is source, because that's where growth comes from. And yes, painting that and leaving that like that is going to bring up emotions and limiting beliefs and all kinds of stuff. But you can use that as a catalyst for you to get through that so that you can let that painting be. No, it doesn't have to just be a painting. It could be anything you create. We all have them. They could be ideas we just have in our head that maybe we should put on paper, but we haven't been able to put on paper because we don't see the point. But maybe there's an exercise in just putting in a paper that allows you to connect with emotions and limiting beliefs, and maybe even energetic trauma that is preventing you from allowing it to not only exist on paper, but for it actually happen. And in that, no one's stopping you, but you and your distrust of yourself. So I challenge you today to post something that you have, or if not, just post something. Maybe you don't have to post on social media, but show it to someone. Because that too is a catalyst of understanding what's in our way of really becoming who we're supposed to be, who your higher self is guiding you to be, how your higher self wants you to open to be. Now, on Facebook, I have an event coming up tonight, but it will be recorded. So if you are interested in getting that, you can message me. It's a free event, and it's the secret to creating a purpose-driven, abundant life without self-doubt and struggle. Your higher self has given you so much to be able to navigate this life. No one teaches that. But I've been using this tool for several years, and it's changed my life in ways I can't even talk about. It's been nuts. And there's new levels of it coming out and new things that I haven't seen, because as I dive deeper into it, I understand more of it. I'm not going to share the secret on here because it is something that I will discuss in this training that I'm doing, the free training. And it is a life changer. But in that, even that tool, you must trust. You want to be more confident. You want to have less doubt. You want to feel worthy. All of those things begin with trust. Okay? So I'm going to pull a couple of cards from my higher self. The higher self's crew, and see what they have to say. This is a new deck that a friend gave to me. This is the Spirit Song Tarot by, kind of hard to see, Pauline Fae. These cards are really pretty. Not usually a tarot deck person, but I do love these cards. I've been playing with them since Saturday, and man, they are right on. So we're going to pull a couple cards on what your higher self wants you to know as you prepare for the birth of September. While I shuffle the cards, and maybe I don't even have to, maybe they'll just fall out, which is why I love this deck, because the cards just literally fly out. What would change in your life if you allowed yourself to trust yourself? Would you have the abundance? Would you have the fulfillment, the freedom, the joy, the fun, the adventure? What if you expanded on that and you not only trusted yourself, but you trusted your higher self and source to always be acting in your highest and best good? What would change in your life? What would you be doing different? How would your days be different? if you're somebody who second guesses themselves all the time, that would end. How much more energy would you have if you didn't spend time trying to analyze everything to death? Which, by the way, is a symptom of not trusting yourself. And it's not that you shouldn't think about something before you act, because you certainly should. But when you get deep into analysis paralysis, that's a I don't trust thing. You don't trust yourself. You don't trust maybe the universe, your higher self. And it could be from past what you see as mistakes. It could just be something that you learned from your parents, and it could be past life. But neither here nor there, the power is within you to find what stands in the way of allowing yourself to trust yourself, your higher self and source, so that you can have that ease and flow and abundance and peace and success that you so desire. One card. Yeah, 2 dropped out. And there's the 3rd one. Okay. The first card is the shadow. I've talked a lot about the shadow today and about how we need to look in our own shadow. The world reflects our shadow back to us. You know, at the very bottom, it says self-empowerment and ambition. Your shadow is empowering. Many people are afraid to do this work because they think it will hurt, or they have to admit things to themselves. But I'm going to tell you, there's so much power in doing that, that once you start to get the bug, you won't stop, because you start to realize how much power is actually in your shadow. The shadow isn't bad. The shadow is just a part of yourself that you are unwilling to look at for whatever reason. It could be fear, it could be anger. Maybe you find yourself in victimhood, blaming others for the issues in your own life. The answers to solving that isn't in the other person, it's within you, it's in the shadow. Your sense of empowerment, freedom, peace, joy, all starts by you looking in your shadow. It's all there, literally waiting for you to take the bull by the horns and say, okay, fine, I'll look. And in my work, I don't believe that you have to actually re-traumatize yourself in order to remember the stuff that's in the shadow. That's not necessary. We just have to know enough about it to release it. But I'm going to tell you something about this fear of you wanting to look in the shadows and not having to see what's already there. You are already experiencing that every day you don't look at it. How many of you have had things happen maybe a week ago, a day ago, a month, a year, and you replay it in your mind over and over and over and over and over again, like a broken record? And while that happened a year ago or a month ago or 6 months ago, every time you relive it, you are re-traumatizing yourself. Your emotions don't know that it was 6 months ago. It knows it's now. Your cells think it's right now. Your body thinks it's right now. So your body releases the chemicals that happen when you're stressed, or like adrenaline, cortisol. Your body tenses up, raises your heartbeat. It's like it's experiencing it over and over and over again. That's why you have the emotions. That's why you feel it in your body, because your body is reliving it every time you replay the same record over and over again. And if you were willing to look in the shadows, you would stop that record. We would trash it, break it into a million pieces. When I was a kid, I had cousins that used to break records. I never understood that, but that's what they did. But it's the same thing that you get to do. And you get to put a new record on that player where you remember that event, but there's no emotional attachment to it anymore. It happened, you learn from it, and you're moving on. So while you might be running away from this idea that your shadow is scary, or it's too much, or I can't do it because it's going to hurt, you're already hurting yourself if you are reliving these events over and over and over again and are stuck there. And really, empowerment is to look them in the mirror and say no more, and find what needs to be healed, whether it's in this lifetime or a past lifetime, and allow yourself to come to the surface and out of the shadow. I have to check my time. Okay. The next one is Queen of Shells. So this is I got this wrong. This is a seal. I got this card on Saturday. I thought it was an otter, but it's actually a seal. And at the bottom is peace and compassion. So I'm going to read this because I'm not familiar with the tarot. So, oh, look, I opened the page right to this. Anyways. A channeler of love, Seal's heart holds a well of deep wisdom. She moves through life with the gift of her inner voice to keep her balance in the ebb and flow of emotion. A natural healer, Seal thrives in harmony and peace, approaching all situations in a diplomatic manner. It is Seal's nature to care for those around her, and she intuitively knows when someone needs comfort. Love drives her actions, and she comes ashore to remind you that joy and pleasure are yours for the taking, just as it is for the giving. Submerge into the waters of emotional integrity and let yourself feel deeply. Feelings born from the pure essence of the heart bring life to yourself and others. In the shadow, we have to face the emotions. That's what prevents us from looking there, because we don't want to have to feel or maybe take responsibility for the anger, the fear, and the anxiety. But if you do, you'll be empowered by doing so. And the key to that lies within you. And you're already impacting yourself and your emotions every time you relive it in your mind. It's time to turn the channel so that you're not doing that over and over again. This is 10 of Acorns. Responsibility and dedication. I think this is a horse, but it could also be a donkey. Just so that you know, because where is it? It says it somewhere. Since this is a tarot deck. Shells, which we had the Queen of Shells. Shells are in tarot cups and water, and acorns are wands and fire. So if you're into tarot, you understand how these cards relate to a regular tarot deck. So acorns are wands and fire, and shells are cups and water. So we have 10 of acorns. It is a donkey. This is a donkey. 10 of acorns. Trustful donkey carries the willingness to take on responsibilities. He personifies determination and bears a deep spiritual dedication to complete tasks. Yet donkey also knows his boundaries. He's here to remind you that when obligating yourself to personal endeavors and the demands of others, consider whether you're taking on more than you can handle. When burdened by too many activities at once, perception and creativity can be blocked. Energies can be weighed down by overcommitment. Dig yourself out of the drudge by setting limitations. Break away from situations that are detrimental to your health, and dedicate time for personal restoration. In clearing away the clutter, you're inviting deeper clarity, joy into your life, in turn, bringing back your personal power. We must take responsibility for our emotions, take responsibility for our inability to trust, for our inability to unconditionally love ourselves. It all starts there. And once once you unconditionally love yourself and you really start to tap into the emotions that maybe have been bottled up over the decades, you start to really set really hard boundaries, and you won't break them, because when you unconditionally love yourself and fully trust that you're in flow and connected to your higher self and on the right path, you will not let nothing get in your way. So those boundaries become like chain link fences, and nothing can get through unless it's something that really touches you deeply. And there will be times when you get off track and it's something that in hindsight you'll realize was actually part of the track. But all those times when you can't say no, or you feel guilty for wanting to say no, or feeling guilty for not doing something for someone, or feeling like you aren't worthy if you don't, are all places that show you that you yourself, one, don't hold strong boundaries for yourself, because you don't love and unconditionally love yourself enough to stand firm and say no. You're not meant to serve everyone. You're only meant to serve those that you're assigned to. And some of you, that may be one, it may be 5, it could be 10, it could be 100, it may be thousands. But your first stop in figuring out what that is for you to figure out you. It doesn't start out there, it starts with you. And being able to go into the shadows, really feel into the emotions of what's really stopping you from being able to tap into flow and being able to actually receive what your heart desires, requires you to also have strong boundaries and stop letting people drive your ship, make you feel guilty for wanting to be in your own lane. Like, you need to figure out what you're willing to stand for, what you will refuse to break. And in doing so, you'll have to face emotions about that. You don't have to do it alone. There are people like me. I have a great group of ladies that we work together with as a group, and we work together to bring this out so that you always, one, know that you have the support, but that you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to do this alone. There are people already doing it. There are people who are just like you or similar enough to you where you will connect with them and they will love who you are becoming and who you are versus the hurt. So think about all that. Drop me a comment on what you think about that and how you're going to change. You can also drop a message to me if you would like to talk more about this, so that you can really step into the trust. You were not made to come here and struggle and have sacrifice everything in order to just get a little. That's not who you are. You are made of source, which means you are limitless. And it's time for you to tap into that. But in order for you to do so, you have to look in the shadows, release the emotions, and set strong boundaries. Okay? So I hope you enjoyed this. Again, drop me a comment below. If you do like this video, please click the like button. If you'd like to see more of this content, please click the subscribe button. And that's it for now. Have a great day. I'll see you later. Bye for now.